And a quick look at our rules of combat based on 3 5-minute rounds and, of course, 5 5-minute rounds for championship bouts. And in the amateur division, that changes to 3 3-minute rounds and, of course, the same 5 3-minute rounds for championship bouts. It's based on the 10-point must system. Round winner must get 10 points. Loser gets 9 or less based on judging criteria as well. And to get things started, we'll go ahead and throw it to the cage.
Idaho, are you ready for some MMA? Please welcome to the cage, Jason God's Lion Powers.
And to kick things off, coming up to the ringside is going to be Jason Powers, hailing from Inglewood, California. He stands at 5 feet 9 inches tall, aged 41, coming in here trying to show the Young Bucks what he's got in store for them. He trains out of Kenshi Karate Academy. His current MMA record stands at 0 wins and 3 losses. Looking to pick up that first win here tonight. So he's coming from a karate background here, so we can expect that he's probably going to stay away from the ground and stick to the stand-up. We're probably going to see a lot of kicks getting thrown there, a lot of body kicks and low side kicks, especially coming from that karate kenpo background. He's going to have to keep that pace going, though, because his opponent, lots of energy, very athletic, so he's going to have to watch out and make sure that when he closes that distance that he doesn't get caught and knocked out. And in addition to that, his opponent does have a little more experience on the ground than he does, so he's going to have to look out for takedowns. He's going to have to keep that takedown defense, especially if he's doing really good right off the start. His opponent's going to read that, and if things aren't working well for him, he's going to go for that takedown. So Powers going to have to watch out for the takedowns and try to stick to the stand-up.
Here is Joey Thomas.
And now approaching the cage, his opponent, Joey Thomas. He is hailing from Post Falls, Idaho, standing at 6 feet tall. And once again, this is a 170-pound weight class bout here tonight. King of the Cage, Knockout 2. And like I was mentioning before, Thomas is much more of a ground-oriented fighter. He's got a current blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, training out of Alpha Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai. It's going to be interesting to see his stand-up get implemented here against the likes of Powers. Like we were talking about before, Powers has a karate background, so we can expect him to throw kicks. We can expect him to stay in the stand-up and keep kind of that traditional wide karate stance, which of course is kind of counter-reactive to the Muay Thai style of kickboxing, where it's a little bit more boxing-oriented and the kicks are just positioned differently. More access for elbows, more access for knees coming from that kind of fight style. So it'll be interesting to see when they keep things in the stand-up here, if he's going to implement more of that Muay Thai and if he's going to try to return those karate kicks with some Muay Thai kicks, which are going to hit a little bit differently and come from different angles. So certainly, depending on how confident Thomas is on his feet, when he gets into the cage here tonight, it's going to be a toss-up of whether or not he goes straight for the ground or not. He might be looking for that early takedown as early as possible, or maybe he wants to test the waters a little bit. If he's really good at his Muay Thai, he's going to have no problem standing and banging. But if things start turning or if it's just not going his way, he's going to be looking for that takedown to finish things off.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Coeur D'Alene Casino Resort Hotel, Worley, Idaho, King of the Cage, Tequila Commissario, Dave Smith Motors present this 3-round bout in the welterweight division. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of this contest, Nick Carroll. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, standing 5 feet 9 inches tall. Official weight, 167 pounds. He represents the Kenshi Karate Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, from Inglewood, California, presenting Jason God's Lion Power. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of our red corner, stands at 6 feet tall. Official weight, an even 168 pounds. He represents Alpha Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai. Ladies and gentlemen, from Post Falls, Idaho, presenting Joey Thomas. Once again, Nick Carroll is your referee for this bout now with the final instructions, 3 rounds scheduled.
All right, I want you to protect yourselves at all times and obey my instructions at all times. If you want to touch gloves, do it now and go back to your corners.
And here we go. It's round 1 between Jason Powers, 41 years of age, taking on the 34-year-old Joey Thomas here in the welterweight division, Coeur d'Alene Casino, as we get things started here in round 1. Obviously, Joey Thomas making his debut. Jason Powers has a couple fights under his belt. We'll see if that becomes a factor here for Joey Thomas.
And these two are getting off to a pretty action-packed start. And like I was wondering before, they are throwing a lot of kicks. We're going to see a little bit of that karate versus Muay Thai kicking styles kind of coming into play here.
Yeah, you got that Kempo background with Jason Powers, so he's going to try and utilize those kicks. So we'll see if that's actually effective here in this fight.
Powers looking confident here.
Yeah, Powers, if he feels a little uncomfortable on the feet, he could take this to the ground. He's comfortable there as well with jiu-jitsu.
And it looks like Thomas is taking his time a little bit here. Oh, and gets a nice shove there. Teep kick to the stomach. Takes him down unexpectedly. I think even Thomas didn't think that was going to take him down for a second. But Thomas is quick to recover and get down on top. Powers doing a good job of defending here.
Yeah, Joey Thomas trying to get full mount here. And like you said, Jason Powers doing a good job of defending this. And a little bit of experience is going to come into factor here. Joey Thomas having more jiu-jitsu skills here.
And Thomas looking like he's setting up a guillotine here a little bit. Powers in kind of an uncomfortable position here. Not really in any immediate danger at the moment. Looks like he's locked up on that one leg there, single and half guard. Powers now in an awkward position.
Yeah, Joey Thomas is trying to soften him up with some shots to the body, and now it's working as he tries to maintain this position.
So Powers is going to have to put in some kind of groundwork here. If he stays locked up in that half guard there and doesn't progress or try to at least get to full guard or buck, try to twist out of this. Right now, he's just kind of locking on to Thomas and just kind of holding him there, which, sure, it's going to prevent you from getting hit in the face, but that's only going to drain you slowly, you know, until you end up giving out. And just like that, he turns and gives up his back.
Jason Powers taking some massive shots to the back, and Joey Thomas is just swarming him here. Could possibly finish him.
Thomas coming in with a flurry of strikes. He's looking to finish this fight, and Powers is not responding back with any kind of defense.
Oh, man, the ref steps in, and it is all over. Powers said no more. Taking several shots to the back there, not to the back of the head, all legal. And a great victory at that. Let's take a look at the replay here.
And let's take a look back at that replay. Kicking off tonight with a bang. And like I was saying there, in the beginning of this fight, they really did open up with those kicks. They were testing the stand-up, them both being from one a Muay Thai, one a karate practitioner. I had a hunch that they were going to open up with just kicks and not really box too much, which is exactly what they did. But Thomas, I think, got the edge in the stand-up, was able to land that strong teep kick that just took Powers straight to the ground, and that gave Thomas his opportunity to just sit there, be patient, wait for his opportunity, and sooner than later, Powers gave up that back.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time, 2 minutes and 15 seconds of round number 1. Your winner by TKO due to strikes, Joey Thomas. Here is Jon Kill Lord Nakarato.
And coming up to the cage side, it's Jon Nacarado, nicknamed Kill Lord. And let me tell you, this guy is quite the character. He's going to be bringing the energy, certainly, to the cage. He's coming out in that patched up punk vest there. Definitely a character, like I said, but let's get into it. He's standing at 5 feet 11 inches tall. He's got a 72-inch reach. Fighting out of the 145-pound weight class, his current amateur MMA record is 2 wins and 2 losses. And according to Nacarado, he is currently a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but we'll just have to see how good he is once he gets into the cage. He trains out of Smash BJJ in Spokane, Washington, influenced by the likes of the Gracies and Boss Root. It's going to be a very interesting fight. He's a very interesting fighter. You know, he's non-traditional, he's non-orthodox. You never really know what he's going to really do once he gets into the cage. He usually takes for a non-traditional kind of approach to his stand-up. I don't think he's going to be looking to take things to the ground immediately, just because he's kind of a wild card, and I don't want to, make any predictions too early. However, I do see this going to the ground at some point if he can back up that black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We'll see if he's about it here when he steps into the cage. He's going up against Dakota Schnall, who is quite the fighter and also quite the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. So we'll just have to see how well Jon Nacarado can hold up.
Here is Dakota, Alpha Male Schnall.
And now coming to the cage, a longtime King of the Cage fighter here, Dakota Schnall. We've seen him many times here before, fighting all the way out of the amateur division, now in the pro division. He's currently fighting out of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, standing at 5 feet 8 inches tall. He's got a 71-inch reach, and his current pro MMA record stands at 3 wins and 4 losses. All 3 of those wins by a result of submission. Obviously, if you followed his amateur career, which he had quite a few fights with King of the Cage, he had a very strong amateur career, leading it with 8 wins and 2 losses before he moved into the professional division. He currently trains out of Trevor Prangley's AKA, where he is ranked a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So like I was saying before, I think he's going to be a real problem for Nacarado, and I think if Nacarado's not completely prepared for Schnall, he's going to get destroyed, because Dakota Schnall is an amazing fighter. He's been fighting with us for a long time, like we said. He's got great techniques, he's good on his stand-up, but he's great on the ground. And if Nacarado is claiming he's got that black belt in BJJ, well, we're just going to have to see how it goes up against Dakota Schnall. Now, Schnall, once again, has a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I am wholly confident that he's going to be able to dominate this fight on the ground, just from what I've seen in him before. Right off the back, though, just because of who he's fighting here tonight, Nacarado is such an unorthodox fighter. I think Schnall is just going to start off very traditional. He's going to box it out a little bit, find his distance, maybe look for a couple of kicks, but sooner than later in the first round, I think he's going to take this to the ground and try to go for that finish.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Coeur d'Alene Casino Resort Hotel, Worley, Idaho, King of the Cage and Ultra Premium Tequila Commissario present this 3-round bout in the bantamweight division. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of this contest, Zach Lowry. Introducing first, fighting out of our blue corner, standing 5 feet 11 inches tall. Official weight, 141.5 pounds. He represents Smash Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Ladies and gentlemen, from Metal Land by way of Spokane, Washington, presenting Jon Kill Lord Nacarado. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of a red corner, stands at 5 feet 8 inches tall. Official weight, 145.3 pounds. He represents Trevor Prangley's AKA. Ladies and gentlemen, from Coeur D'Alene, Idaho, presenting Dakota Alpha Male Schnall. Once again, Zach Laurie is your official for this bout now with the final instructions. 3 rounds, bantamweights.
Gentlemen, I want you to obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. If you want to touch gloves, do it now. Go back to your corners, come out ready to fight.
Zach Laurie, our rep for this matchup. In the 145-pound weight division, Dakota Schnall out of Trevor Prangley's AKA MMA school. And of course, Jon Moxley, who's also equal. And when it comes to experience in fights, looks like a couple more fights under Dakota Schnall's belt as we head off here into round 1. A nice outside leg kick to start things off by Nakarado.
And there's Nakarado with that very interesting stance he's taking. Not a lot of head coverage there. Looks like he's trying to fake out Schnall. What was that little twist he was going on there?
Schnall comes in, takes advantage with a big slam, and now throwing Nakarado off a bit here. Trying not to give up his back, but you can see Schnall is just persistent here.
And Schnall positioning himself very well here. Like we said before, he's very comfortable on the ground, and we're seeing that purple belt come into play here. Nakarado defending well, he's controlling the wrists, but he's gonna wanna have to twist out of here because Schnall is just putting the pressure on.
Yeah, Schnall has had several fights in his MMA career. This is actually Jon Nakarado's pro debut. So like I said, equal to amateur and pro fights. It's obviously changed when it comes to the time.
Schnall continuing to put pressure here, waiting for that opportunity to possibly go for a submission or move to the arm. Nakarado now using the cage to his advantage here to try to push off. I think Schnall just picked up on that.
Nakarado just working from his back. Schnall working from side control, looking to ground and pound a little bit from the top here. 3 minutes and 32 seconds remains here in round 1.
Schnall now using his shoulder to drive into the face of Nakarado, but he breaks free a little bit here. Dakota looking to do some ground and pound.
Yeah, Schnall getting that full mount position, something he's been working for this entire round and finally getting it. And Nakarado is still trying to make it very difficult.
And Nakarado looks like he's in a little bit of trouble here. Schnall is continuing to keep all of that weight on his upper body.
Yep, Nakarado ain't giving up his back anymore, but now he's giving up the full mount position to Dakota Schnall, now taking advantage from the top, now delivering some nice elbows, creating that space. Now Schnall staying busy from the top, scoring those extra points if this round does go the distance. Try to control the arm there as well.
Nakarado twisting around here, but I mean, man, just look at the positioning on Schnall. He's putting all that weight directly onto the stomach and ribs of Nakarado. It's just making it hard for him to breathe. It's not giving him any room to slip out or twist here.
Referee Zach Laurie on top of the action, making sure Dakota Schnall is staying busy, and that's exactly what he's doing.
Nakarado trying to change position, but ends up giving up his back. This is not looking good for Nakarado.
Yeah, giving up his back once again.
Settling in the rear naked choke here is Schnall. Can he get it deep?
I think Schnall is going to sink this in. He's got those hooks, and it looks like Nakarado's in serious trouble. And with 2 minutes and 7 seconds remaining, that's not a good thing for Nakarado.
Nakarado in major trouble here. He doesn't seem like he's, breathing that hard right now. I don't think it's super deep, but right there, it's tightening.
And this is where the experience is coming in. Time would be up if it was an amateur fight. And of course, Dakota Schnall comes out with that rear naked choke. What a great victory, a well-earned victory at that.
Well, Steve, I gotta say, I'm not super surprised about the outcome of this one. Like I was saying in the beginning when the fighters were coming out, Schnall's a very confident fighter, and he's been doing this for quite a while. So, he's no stranger, I'm sure, to seeing some unorthodox or non-traditional fighters. Nakarado is just quite a ways out there. His stand-up technique was very interesting to see because, I'm not even sure what to call it, but there was no head protection at all involved. I think Schnall kind of just saw that and was like, you know what? let's not even do this. Let's just take this straight to the ground. He ended up being successful on his first takedown attempt, got Nacarado down to the ground, and the fight stayed there until the very end. Right here where Schnall was able to slowly set in that rear naked choke and tighten it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time, 3 minutes and 9 seconds of round number 1. Your winner by rear naked choke, tap out submission, Dakota Alpha Male Schnall. Here is Diego Shark Ledesma.
And to kick off our next bout, we have Diego Ledesma coming down to the cage side. He's originally hailing from Costa Rica, but fighting out of Oceanside, California. He stands at 5 feet 8 inches tall. His pro MMA record standing at 7 wins, 5 losses. He came off of a pretty strong amateur record, ending that career with 8 wins and 3 losses. And when he transferred over into the professional division, he was able to rack up quite a few wins, but still a little bit of a shaky record. So he's looking to pick up his 8th win here tonight against the likes of Jamal Davis. So he currently trains out of Compound in Oceanside, California. I think he's primarily a stand-up fighter, so I don't see any kind of takedown attempts really coming out of Ledesma here tonight. I think he's going to try and keep things on the stand-up as much as possible. I think there's only 2 ways he's looking to win this fight, and that's either going to be from strikes in a TKO or just a straight knockout. But he is going up against the likes of Jamal Davis, who's a little bit of an opposite kind of fighter, definitely more of a ground fighter, more of a jiu-jitsu type of warrior, but Ledesma here is going to come in and we're just going to kind of have that classic matchup of the ground game guy versus the stand-up guy. I believe Ledesma's stand-up roots stem from boxing and Muay Thai, so we may see some kicks there, especially if he's not much of a ground fighter. He's definitely going to want to implement some kicks and mix up that stand-up there, keep the change of pace, keep the distance, and find his range. So far tonight, we have had quite a few exciting matches, none really getting past that first round, so we'll have to see if it's going to be any different here tonight as Diego Ledesma steps into the cage. He's finishing up his preparations ringside now, and like I said before, he's going up against Jamal Davis. These guys fighting out of the 155-pound weight class, and hopefully we're in for a show.
Here is Jamal Davis.
And the challenger coming to the cage here, Jamal Davis. He hails from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, standing at 5 feet 9 inches tall. His current pro MMA record stands at 1 win and 6 losses. So he's really looking to redeem himself here tonight, pick up a 2nd win, and start offsetting that record back onto the positive side. He came off of actually a pretty strong amateur record of 10 wins and 6 losses. But now, you know, once you cross over that amateur into the professional league, it's a different monster. It's an entirely different game. It's not the same kind of approach. You know, when you're in the amateur league, you're really trying to impress and go all out, you know, and you're taking risks, and you're just trying to get your name out there. You're trying to be notable, getting those knockouts, getting those big, surprising wins and upsets. But when you get into the professional game, it's a different game. Everybody's here has already gotten past all that point. So now they're just honing in their skills and seeing who's going to be the better fighter, who's tactically better, whose technique has been practiced more, who's spent more time in the gym, and who's really, really wants it. Like we were saying before, Jamal Davis is currently a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, training out of Hayden, Idaho at Trevor Prangley's AKA. In addition to that, he does have some stand-up training as well in Muay Thai, so we could see these fighters opening up with some stand-up, and it might be a little while before Davis considers taking things down to the ground. But as we were saying, Ledesma is primarily a stand-up fighter, so I think the quicker Davis can get this down to the ground, the quicker he's going to be able to find a win.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Coeur D'Alene Casino Resort Hotel, Worley, Idaho, King of the Cage, General Tire, AccurateFishing.com, and Dave Smith Motors present this 3-round bout in the lightweight division. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Zach Laurie. Introducing first, fighting out of our blue corner, standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, official weight 156 pounds. He represents the Compound MMA. Ladies and gentlemen, from Costa Rica, now fighting out of Oceanside, California, presenting Diego Shark Ledesma. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of our red corner, stands at 5 feet 9 inches tall. Official weight, 149.3 pounds. He represents Trevor Prangley's American Kickboxing Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, presenting Jamal Davis. Once again, Zach Laurie is your official for this bout. Now with the final instructions, 3 rounds, lightweights.
Gentlemen, I want you to follow my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. If you want to touch gloves, do it now. Go back to your corner. Come out ready to fight.
Actually, both ref and fighters are no stranger here at King of the Cage. Zach Laurie, a veteran here at King of the Cage who has fought many times, so what better to have him in the cage watching your fight. And Diego Ledesma, fighting out of the blue corner, and of Jamal Davis in the red corner. Nearly 20 fights between these two fighters and experience.
Ooh, Ledesma throwing some big hooks here. He is definitely looking for that knockout. Ooh, but he clinches up here. Interesting move on Ledesma's part. If you wanted to keep it on the stand-up, you know, the clinch isn't always the best way to go. But he seems okay on the ground. He's staying calm, watching his breathing. He seems very good. Both these fighters obviously very fresh. We just kicked off this fight, but it is 5 minutes, and by the end of that 5 minutes, depending on where they're at, it could be a very different story.
Ledesma working from the back. Jamal Davis continuing to work from the top, trying to create that space, landing some nice small shots.
Davis showing off those jiu-jitsu skills here. Keeping control over Ledesma, but Ledesma does have a full guard up right now.
Yeah, 4 minutes remains, and this is a good spot for Jamal Davis. He loves working from the top. He's obviously got that jiu-jitsu, and he's got that great, well-rounded skills from Trevor Prangley's AKA Academy.
And Ledesma is showing a really good job that, you know, he is primarily stand-up, but he knows what he's doing on the ground. He's doing all right. His defense is great. He's not really taking any damage. Davis with the crossface there. Ledesma, though, what he's doing, though, is great. He's staying busy. He's not just laying there and letting Davis crawl all over him and set up positions. Ledesma is throwing strikes as often as possible.
Yeah, very awkward position for Ledesma as he tries to fight off the cage. Having your back up against that and having some guy pound you in the face is a very difficult situation as he tries to roll out of this.
And if Ledesma can't get this up to the feet, I feel like he's going to be in trouble the longer he stays down here, though. He's doing a good job at defending right now. But once that fatigue starts setting in, I think he's going to be much more comfortable in the stand-up, trying to knock him out. And Davis just staying tight, staying centered, slowly working on his positioning. He's managed to get Ledesma from full guard to half guard, and now kind of in a hybrid side mount here.
A frustrated Ledesma indeed, wanting to get this probably on his feet to start banging.
Davis looking for those strikes as well.
Yeah, Jamal continues to create that space, and he's definitely winning this round as he controls the pace of it.
It's such a big importance with ground and pound because, you know, you don't – if you're going up against a top-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter and he's got you on the ground, you know, yeah, okay, there's probably not a lot you can do as far as technique is concerned, and you're going to try and to defend, but you're in an MMA fight, which means you have all the means to hit your opponent and strike your opponent from the ground, however you seem fit, as long as it's well within the rule set, obviously. Which really changes the game because, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, when you're doing it outside of MMA, it's not striking, obviously. It's just on the ground. It's just grappling. You're not getting punched in the face. You're not getting elbowed from the ground. And right here, Davis opening Ledesma up.
Yeah, definitely lighting him up. Some nice shots from the top, trying to finish this.
And he continues the assault. Ledesma's got to do something here or the ref's going to stop it.
Yeah, this is a worse position to be in, now not knowing where those shots are coming, able to, articulate and block them.
Davis now in a perfect position here.
Yeah, very awkward position again. Here we go.
We've seen this many times before with a million other fighters. When you give up your back and you got your hooks in like that, it is very hard to get out of it.
Ledesma trying to fight this as Jamal Davis sets it up, and that is it. He taps out. And that's going to be a round one rear naked choke. Another rear naked choke here tonight. Zach Laurie checking on the fighter, making sure he's okay.
And Steve, would you just look at that? Jamal Davis really putting those jiu-jitsu skills to the test and, being patient, working with it. He controlled his breathing. He did everything he needed to do to defeat Ledesma and set in that rear naked choke. Step-by-step process, honestly. Did it great. Great job. Didn't take really any damage at all in the process. Ledesma did a good job in the stand-up and a good job at defending on the early game, but as that started closing in, things changed very quickly, very rapidly. And once he gave up his back and Davis had his hooks in, it was all over.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time is 3 minutes and 35 seconds of round number one. Your winner by tap-out submission from a rear naked choke, Jamal Davis. Here is J Portee.
And next up, we have J Portee, now going to be making his way to cage side. Hailing from Baltimore, Maryland, fighting out of Oceanside, California, he stands at 5 feet 8 inches tall with a 70-inch reach. Once again, this is a welterweight bout in the 170-pound weight division, 3 rounds, 5 minutes apiece. Now let's take a look at Portee's pro MMA record. He has a total of 7 wins and 6 losses, so he's looking to pick up another one of those wins tonight and add to that collection. His win breakdown, though, is very interesting. 6 out of those 7 wins are all due to KO, and that one outlier is due to submission. So he's dangerous on both ends, whether you're fighting in the stand-up and you're boxing him out, or if he takes you to the ground and you got to wrestle. He came off of an outstanding amateur MMA record, 10 wins and 2 losses. Pretty impressive. But once again, like we were saying before, there's a big difference when you cross over from the amateur to the pros. It's a different game, different mindset. It's much harder. He trains out of Compound MMA in Oceanside, California. And like we were saying before, he's a very versatile fighter, very well balanced. He's got a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so in addition to his striking, 6 knockouts in his professional career. Usually when you see guys with a purple belt or higher, they're primarily a jiu-jitsu fighter. You usually don't see a lot of knockouts or really a lot of stand-up period from them. However, in this day and age of MMA, the fight game has evolved. You have to be good at every aspect of the sport. It's no longer good enough to just be good at knocking people out or just be good at ground game. You have to be the complete package. And honestly, Portee is on his way there. He's mastering all of his techniques in the right way. It's obviously working out for him in the cage. So we're just going to have to see how that plays out tonight, see if he can pick up that 8th win.
Here is Cameron Robinette.
And his opponent, of course, we have our hometown favorite, hailing from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, Cameron Robinette. He's a big fighter out here. A lot of the fans are coming out to support him here tonight. He stands at 5 feet 10 inches tall, has a 71-inch reach, and his current pro MMA record stands at 1 win and 3 losses. So since he's moved up from the amateur division, it's been a little bit of a slog for him trying to get that positive record going. He's looking to pick up a 2nd win in his professional career here tonight. He came off of, once again though, similarly to his opponent, came off of a very strong amateur record, 6 wins, 1 loss, almost went undefeated. He currently has a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, making him very dangerous on the ground. Of course, his opponent is very good on the ground as well, so if things go down there, it could stay there. You know, we could have one of those fights where if this ends up going the distance, the majority of the time spent could be on the ground. He's training, of course, out of Trevor Prangley's AKA, and we're going to see how he does against the likes of J Portee.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Coeur D'Alene Casino Resort Hotel, Worley, Idaho, King of the Cage, Ultra Premium, Tequila Commissario, Dave Smith Motors, and AccurateFishing.com present our co-featured bout of the evening. Sanctioned by the Coeur D'Alene Tribe. It's in conjunction with King of the Cage Incorporated. Founder, Terry Trebilcock Jr. President, Jeff Mahalik. Matchmaker, Carlos Rivera. The 3 judges scoring this match will be Colby Kingsbury, Terry Smith, and Mark Stevens. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, James Dion Lee. All right, Idaho, put your hands together for our co-feature of the evening, 3 rounds of MMA in the welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, official weight 170.6 pounds. This compound MMA fighter has a professional record of 7 victories with 6 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, originally from Baltimore, Maryland, now fighting out of Oceanside, California, presenting J Portee. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of our red corner, stands at 5 feet 10 inches tall. Official weight an even 170 pounds. This Trevor Prangley's AKA fighter has a professional record of 1 victory with 3 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, presenting Cameron Robinette. Once again, James Dion Lee is your official for this bout now with the final instructions, 3 rounds, welterweights.
Gentlemen, remember the rules backstage. I want a good, hard, clean fight. I want you to obey my commands at all times. Any questions? Let's touch them up.
And there he is, former light heavyweight champion James Lee reffing this fight. We have got legends here tonight. It's pretty exciting to see him back in the cage, but now overseeing this fight between J Portee and Cameron Robinette. Cameron Robinette, several fights in his amateur and pro career here at King of the Cage, along with J Portee, who has got he's got a lot of fights under his belt, over 20 combined in his pro and amateur, so he brings a lot of experience to the cage.
You know, I'm really digging Portee's shorts as a Dragon Ball fan. Gotta say, it's gonna make me a little biased on my opinion on who I might support in this fight. But like I said during the walkouts, this is a very even matchup. You know, the slight advantage in the jiu-jitsu ranking going to Robinette. However, you know, the knockout advantage going to Portee. So this really can go anyway. I think that's why both these fighters are swinging hard, but they're being very cautious and particular about what they throw.
Yeah, you got to watch it, though, too, with the Muay Thai shorts, because sometimes these guys are well-rounded and they put those on thinking that their opponents will think that they're just going to stand up, and then all of a sudden you're submitted, game over.
And Robinette doing a great job here, shoving that elbow into the face of Portee. So he can't, you know, it's making it just a lot harder for him to keep that pressure up against the fence. Also, Robinette has a pretty significant height advantage over Portee. So that's definitely going to come into play when it comes to kicks and things up against the fence like this.
Yeah, Robinette taking some shots to the outer part of the thigh. Obviously, that's going to start wearing on him. Taking a lot of knees, man. That doesn't feel good, obviously. And now working each other up against the cage.
And Portee looking to keep the pressure up here. Robinette keeping him up against the cage side now, flipping it around.
Oh, Robinette with a nice knee to the dome. Portee.
I'm going to say somebody's going to go for a takedown very soon.
Looks like
I mean, with how long this is staying up against the fence like this and with how much jiu-jitsu experience you have on both of these guys, somebody's going to be going for a takedown here.
Absolutely, and you can see him continue to work him up against the cage here. Robinette now delivering some knees there from the cage as well. Both fighters exhausted at this point.
Portee making use of that shoulder. Robinette, though, just has that arm locked up. He can't really do much with it.
Still working him up against the cage here. Robinette trying to get out of this. He's delivered many knees. Hard to call this round, actually. Now things are starting to change. Oh, man, and Robinette takes a shot to the head, and now he's on his back.
That almost was it. I thought Robinette was not going to get up from that, but it looks like he snapped back into it and keeping his defense up. It's still early enough. Oh, and Portee says, stand up. Let's bang. Come on. Portee rushes in once again. Robinette recovered very quickly from that hit.
Yeah, you can tell he was just out momentarily, got right back to it, and is back in the game here. Oh!
And now Robinette ends up on top here and looking for a little bit of a crank there, net crank.
Uno reverse.
Goes back to the ground and pound. Oh, taking the back, and he takes the back. This is a bad situation for Portee.
Especially in this position, they are completely exhausted already in round one, exerting a lot of energy, working each other up against the cage, working each other on the ground, and then Robinette taking that shot. But now it seems that his second wind is kicking in and now trying to take a rear naked choke. Could we see another rear naked choke victory here tonight with Robinette? Man.
Oh, man, Portee might be in trouble here.
Obviously trying to get out of this, doing a good job thus far. Not going to be able to finish him from here.
Steve, I'm not liking the looks of this. Robinette is doing a fantastic job here. He's still got, oh, and just as I'm saying that, of course, Portee stands it back up and keeps things going.
Yeah, both fighters come to fight here tonight, both well-rounded. Robinette just got right back into it after getting knocked out. I commend him on that, and we're still in round one. This seems like an ongoing battle, a war.
Portee once again getting back into this position, keeping Robinette up against the cage, but I don't think that's the way to go for him right now.
Both fighters bring a lot of experience to the cage. That's why this may go the distance. I wouldn't be surprised if it does. These guys sort of X each other's styles out.
Just under 1 minute left in this round, and I gotta say, I think Robinette takes this round no problem. Ooh, and a big knee from Robinette. That definitely made contact, but man, Portee taking it like a champ. Both of these fighters just so tough.
Yeah, Robinette has obviously got to make up for time here. He got knocked down. That's obviously going to influence the judges' minds here if this does go the distance. So he's really trying to play catch-up here, and he's doing a great job at it.
And it looks like they'll finish out this round very strong. Stuck in the clinch once again.
J Portee trying to reverse things here, trying to switch it up, trying to solidify this round. Oh,
Ooh,
man.
A nice strike from Portee there for a second, but Robinette counters him and looks to control the back for the remainder of the round.
Yeah, this is obviously going to probably go into Robinette's favor, but that knockdown could have influenced the judges on that round alone. So who knows as we go into round two.
And a hell of a round one that was to kick off this bout. I mean, J Portee doing a great job in the beginning there, threw a couple of wild strikes, didn't make a whole lot of connection with damage. Then they ended up moving over to the cage side there, and after they spent a couple of minutes there, Portee just came out with that random hook that just rocked Robinette, nearly knocked him out, very close. Robinette, though, actually sprung back up, no problem, was right back in the fight, and was actually able to turn it into his favor. So, you know, overall, I got to give the round to Robinette, but that one strike that Portee managed to get in, man, Robinette definitely felt it.
There he is, former light heavyweight champion James Lee reffing the fight between J Portee and Cameron Robinette. Robinette obviously got knocked down earlier in round one, was able to recover and probably recover round one if this does go the distance. But J Portee looking to change things up here on the stand-up game.
And both fighters looking to want to stay in the stand-up and just box it out a little bit here. A kick attempt from Robinette, stumped by Portee. Portee keeping the center cage, though, this time, and it looks like he's not so eager to get up on the fence. Ooh, and just barely misses that overhand. Robinette, though, capitalizes on his mistake, looking for a double leg and gets it.
Yeah, Robinette is obviously playing catch-up from round one. I think he did a really good job of recovering. It quite possibly could go his favor if this goes the distance, but now really solidifying round two here.
Robinette doing a good job with the ground and pound here, keeping Portee up against that corner of the cage, but Portee making his way back up to his feet.
Robinette obviously taking the back here. J Portee not allowing that thus far, working blindly at this point.
Portee having a little bit of a hard time here, getting back up all the way to his feet, but he's got one leg up. Robinette just going to be persistent here on the back. And, of course, Robinette, you know, look at him. He already knows what he's looking for. He's looking for another rear naked choke or perhaps a neck crank there. And he might get it. He's getting closer. Portee doing a good job of defending, though, but now getting locked up a little bit here.
Yeah, here we are, round two, almost in the middle of it, and exerting so much energy. This is a very dangerous place.
Portee should be okay if he could just keep control of his breathing, keep his chin down, and not allow Robinette to get any kind of leeway into a rear naked choke. Then he should be all right. And right now he needs to turn his body towards Robinette, which is exactly what he's doing. But I think in the event of that, he ended up getting caught himself. Robinette is squeezing him pretty tight here. I don't know how much damage it's really doing, though.
Yeah, no damage at all. It's just probably exhausting and uncomfortable trying to get out.
Portee throwing some nice body strikes, just trying to soften up Robinette.
And it looks like J Portee has had enough, now delivering some nice shots, creating that space, and now quite possibly setting himself up into a triangle. Needs to get out of this. Robinette locking in.
And Portee knows what's happening. Portee knows exactly the position he's in here. He's remaining calm. He's doing everything he needs to do right here, but he needs to be careful because Robinette is very sneaky on the ground.
And Robinette looking, oh man, and he gets that armbar, and that is it. Wow. Robinette victorious, exhausted, but still pulls off the victory.
Great performance from Robinette here tonight. It really did end up coming down to who was the better jiu-jitsu guy here. The striking was, Portee was well within his means to knock out Robinette tonight. And it very well almost happened in the first round. However, in the second round, I don't really think right there you could see that he just barely missed that overhand. And if he would have landed it, it probably would have shocked Robinette the same way it did in the first round. However, I think once Robinette realized that he just barely missed that, he was like, you know what? Let's get this down to the ground. I can win this fight from the ground. Even if it takes longer than I expect it to, we can get it done. And honestly, it didn't take very long at all. Portee was doing a great job at defending the entire time, managed to get out of a lot of really bad positions. However, Robinette was just persistent and sneaky. Was able to get those legs up around his head and not only set up for a triangle, but get the arm bar instead.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time, 2 minutes and 48 seconds of round number 2. Your winner by tap-out submission from an arm bar, Cameron Robinette. Here is Alidre A-Train Racy.
And for our next bout, coming up to the cage side, we have Alidre Bracy. He's fighting out of Spokane, Washington. Height 6 feet tall, even. And of course, this is going to be a bout in the 200-pound division, heavyweight, 3 rounds, 5 minutes apiece. Now let's talk about his amateur MMA record here. Bracy is a pretty scary fighter. Currently, he's at 5 wins and 1 loss, and he is a stand-up fighter, so I can only assume that the majority of those wins were either from TKO, strikes, or knockouts. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he fares in this fight. Of course, you always like to see a nice just stand-up and bang type fight when it comes to heavyweights because, let's face it, they're bigger, they hit harder, they deal more damage. So it's just funner to watch when these guys slug it out on each other. And, we might just get that with Bracy here tonight. Obviously, he's already proven himself in fights before that he can be effective on his stand-up and on his feet with his fists. So let's see if he can pick up a 6th win here tonight against the likes of Theo Dukas. you know, now that things are in the professional division, it's going to be a little bit different. So he's looking to pick up his first professional MMA win here tonight. Of course, he's going against Theo Dukas, his opponent, who's very formidable. Came off of an amateur record of 7 wins and 7 losses. So, but he does have 1 win in his professional MMA career. So he's got just a little more experience in the ring, or in the cage, to Bracy. But we'll see if Bracy can pull out this win here tonight.
Here is Theo Ortiz Dukas.
And the opponent now approaching the cage side, Theo Dukas. He's also fighting out of Spokane, Washington, standing at 5 feet 10 inches tall. He's wielding a 72-inch reach. Once again, this is a heavyweight bout in the professional division. His pro MMA record stands at 1 win and 0 losses. He's undefeated right now, looking to pick up a second win and keep that streak going. His only win was from KO, so he's definitely a force to be reckoned with when it comes to the stand-up. You're going to want to watch out for this guy's boxing. He is well within his means to knock out Bracy if he lands the right shot. But you could say the same thing about Bracy. Bracy has a great stand-up as well, and he's got the fights to back it up. Now, while Dukas doesn't have the most experience in BJJ, he does have some experience. So, you know, if things get taken down to the ground, he's probably going to be the one that leads that. I don't really see Bracy trying to shoot in for the takedown here. He might want to wrestle around a little bit. Maybe something in the clinch, and, you know, throwing some kicks back and forth and whatnot. We could see that. But I think, for the most part, I think this is going to be a brawl. A straight-up brawl. I think both these guys are going to get in there. They both like to fight. They both are going to try and just knock each other out right off the bat. So we'll have to see how it goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the Coeur D'Alene Casino Resort Hotel, Worley, Idaho, King of the Cage, Ultra Premium Tequila Commissario, and Dave Smith Motors presents this 3-round bout at a catchweight of 200 pounds. After the bell rings, your referee in charge of this contest, James Dion Lee. Introducing first, fighting out of our blue corner, standing 6 feet tall, official weight 194 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, from Spokane, Washington, presenting Alidre A-Train Bracy. His opponent across the cage, fighting out of our red corner, stands at 5 feet 10 inches tall. Official weight, 199 pounds. He represents Warrior Camp and Box Fit. Ladies and gentlemen, he too hails from Spokane, Washington, presenting Theo Ortiz Dukas. Once again, James Dion Lee is your official for this bout now with the final instructions, 3 rounds scheduled.
Gentlemen, whenever the rules backstage, I want a good, hard, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. If you have any questions, let's touch them up.
And here we go, the heavyweight division between Alidre Bracy and, of course, Theo Dukas. James Lee, our ref in this matchup as the heavyweights clash in the middle. And what better ref to have in there? Former light heavyweight champion James Lee here at King of the Cage. A kick and a miss, and now closing the distance is Theo Dukas.
And Bracy opening up very strong, but a little too wild. He needs to tone that down just a little bit. He's slipping a little bit here, and he's throwing very wide. He's leaving his face open, but it does seem like some damage is getting through to Dukas. Bracy now taking a breath here, as that was a big spur of energy, and Dukas takes him down to the ground.
Yeah, you come out swinging, kicking for the fences. This is exactly where you're going to end up with someone like Theo Dukas.
Dukas now looking to work from the ground, and it looks like Bracy is not as comfortable on his back as he was in the stand-up.
Dukas looking to get to the side position here, and now throwing some knees to the ribs. And Alidre in a very vulnerable position here as Dukas continues to size him.
You know, Bracy needs to be just moving more. If he wants to get out of this, he needs to buck. He needs to use those hips, create some distance, and get out of there.
And looks like James Lee isn't seeing enough action. He's going to stand him up. Oh, he's injured. Oh, man, that's terrible.
Yeah, Steve, we're going to have to take a look at that again because it didn't really look like a finish occurred. I don't believe Dukas actually had him submitted at all. You know, as we were saying in the beginning, as you can see here, Bracy came off just on fire, ready to knock out Dukas as quickly as possible. Wasn't able to do it. Dukas took things down to the ground, managed to get into this side mount here, threw some knees, and then just kind of sat on top. It did look like Bracy was holding on to his wrist or forearm after he tapped, but it doesn't look like anything crazy. I mean, he was taking a couple elbows there, but who knows?
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time comes at 1 minute and 9 seconds of round number 1. Your winner by tap out due to injury, Theo Gritarius Dukas.
Theo Dukas, victorious here tonight. Man, what injury that he sustained there earlier was Alidre Bracy. Earlier, we saw Jason Powers completely walk through Joey Thomas. Joey Thomas obviously gave up. Took many shots to the back, took many shots to the ribs, body shots, the list goes on. Obviously, the ref stepped in, saw that it was enough. Joey Thomas continues to move up the ranks here at King of the Cage. And obviously, the war between Nakaruto and, of course, Schnall would end with a rear naked choke. And obviously, the fight after that would end with a rear naked choke, when Jamal Davis would score a rear naked choke off Diego Ledesma in a first-round victory. And then we head off to Cameron Robinette as he takes on his opponent, J Portee, who put up a great fight, even dropped Cameron Robinette. Robinette was able to recover from that round. He was able to get back up, put the fight back into the game, scored several takedowns. Even when the round wasn't in his favor, he would have made a comeback if this went the distance. He was doing a great job at that, but would eventually seal the deal with an armbar. I'm Steve Inman. Until next time, we'll see you back here at King of the Cage. Thanks for joining us.